For this video, we're going to be discussing exponent power rules. So just like with multiplication and division, there are rules for when we raise exponents to powers. For example, when we take like x to the 8th, and I raise that to the second power. Okay, what that's going to result in is x to the 16th. So let's discuss what those rules are. First one is when we raise a power to a power, which is what I just did on the last page. The rule is when I raise a power to a power, or raise an exponent to a power, you just multiply the exponents. So if I have x to the a raised to the b power, that's the same thing as x to the a times b power. Here's our explanation of why. Remember when you're squaring a number, you're just multiplying that number by itself. 5 squared is just 5 times 5. Well, similarly, we can say, well, x cubed squared, that's x cubed times x cubed. All right, well, x cubed, that's x times x times x. So I've got x times x times x times x times x times x. How many x's do I have? 6 of them, which is 3 times 2. All right, so all you have to do, if I give you something like x to the 20th raised to the 5th power, well, that's the same thing as x to the 20th times x to the 20th times x to the 20th times x to the 20th. Remember, we know from the exponent multiplying rule that I just add together these exponents now. 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. Well, that's x to the 20 times. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. X to the 20. That's x to the 20 times 5. That's x to the 100th power. All right, so why don't you go ahead and try this one. So by now, you should have figured out that this is the same thing as saying x to the 5 times 10, which is x to the 50th power. All we do when we raise a power to a power is multiply together our exponents. All right, let's look at our second rule for today. Raising a product to a power. So when I raise a product to a power, I simply raise all of the factors to that power. All the factors meaning everything that's being multiplied together. For example, if I have xy raised to the a power, that's x to the a power times y to the a power. I raise both of these exponents to that power. Okay? So let me give you these examples aren't too bad, but let me give you a simpler one to kind of show you how this works. If I said xy cubed, well, that's xy times xy times xy, which I could rewrite using the commutative property as x times x times x times y times y times y, which is x to the 3rd power times y to the 3rd power. Showing exactly what I said up here. Xy to the 3rd is x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. All right, it's pretty simple. So if I look at this example here, 3x cubed squared, well, it's kind of like the distributive property. I square 3 and I square x cubed. 3 squared, 4. What was I thinking when I made this? 3x squared, obviously, 3 squared is obviously not 4, it's 9. So 3 squared is 9. X cubed squared, well, based on our rule that we just did, when I raise a power to a power, I do 3 times 2. So x cubed squared is 9x to the 6th. So go ahead and try this problem, and then we'll work it out. All right, let's check and see how well you did on this. 2x to the 5th, y to the 6th to the 4th. We know that that works out to be 2 to the 4th times x to the 5th to the 4th times y to the 6th power to the 4th. 2 to the 4th power is 16. X to the 5th to the 4th, that's x to the 5 times 4. That's x to the 20th power, based on the power to a power rule. And then y to the 6th raised to the 4th power is y to the 24th power. So that right there is our answer. 16, x to the 20th, y to the 24th. Whenever you raise a product to a power, you raise all of the factors to a power. So our final rule for today is very similar. If I raise a quotient to a power, if I have a division problem, then I raise both the numerator and the denominator to that power. So x divided by y to the a is the same thing as x to the a divided by y to the a. So, if I kind of give you a simple example of that, x over y squared, that's x over y times x over y, which you know is x times x over y times y, which gives me x squared over y squared. So let's look at this example here. I've got x cubed over y to the 5th cubed. So I kind of distribute out this cubed, so I get x cubed cubed and y to the 5th cubed. Power to a power says these two things get multiplied together. X cubed cubed is x to the 9th. 3 times 3 is 9. Y to the 5th cubed, 5 times 3 is y to the 15th. So my answer is x to the 9th, y to the 15th. So go ahead and try this one. Now that you tried this one, let's go ahead and look at the answer. We got 2x squared to the 5th, or 2x squared over y to the 4th to the 5th. So that's 2x squared to the 5th over y to the 4th to the 5th. Okay. Remember, product to a power, I kind of got to distribute this out. So 2 to the 5th power is 16. No, it's not. It's not 16. It's 32. Okay, so 2 to the 5th gives me 32. X squared to the 5th, 2 times 5 is 10, so that's x to the 10th. Divided by y to the 4 times 5, which is y to the 20th power. So my answer is 32 x to the 10th divided by y to the 20th. So let's look at some examples that put these things together. Here I've got 4 x to the 4th, y to the 7th. So using our product to a power rule, what I'm going to do is I know this 2 gets distributed out like as a power. So I have 4 squared times x to the 4th squared times y to the 7th squared. 4 times 4 is 16. X to the 4th squared, well, product to, or power to a power. 4 times 2 is 8, so that's x to the 8th. Once again, power to a power. 7 times 2 is 14. So y to the 14th power, and my answer is 16, x to the 8th, y to the 14th. Example 2, now 5a to the 12th divided by c equal all cubed. So if we work this one out, up top I get 5 cubed times a to the 12th cubed divided by c cubed. Well, 5 cubed, that's 5 times 5 times 5, that's 125. Power to a power, a to the 12 to the cubed is a to the 12 times 3, which is a to the 36th power. And on the bottom I just have c cubed. So my answer, 125, a to the 36th, c cubed. So your try it problem for tonight. It's a little bit complicated. I've got 2x cubed to the 4th divided by y squared, and that entire thing cubed. So you need to first, to get you started, first do this product to a power, and then do the quotient to the power.